Rightio, here we go. Good evening. Welcome to All Ports Motorsports Supercars NZ. We are live tonight, round 6 of our Div 1 series in the V8s, as we head to Laguna Seca for a whopping 200 kilometres of endurance racing this evening. I'm joined in the broadcasting lounge this evening by Shane White and Corey Kitchen. How we doing, lads?
Hope you're a little bit stressed out than you, Doug. It's the night of technical difficulties tonight. Your mic not working there, and we've got no data on screen for the guys at home, unfortunately.
Yeah, so just a few updates been happening recently, and I think it's just a bit of bugs crawling on through. But yes, we are without our SDK live data timing screen tonight, so we'll be doing our best to update you through the evening as much as we can with who's leading, what the time gaps are, and where the battles are taking place. So as you can see there, the cars are starting to grid up for the race, and running down through the standings of the top 10, we have Rehan there in first with Bruce Tannock in second. Daniel Heddershide making a crack of a run to come there through in third. Sean McNamara waiting to join the track, but he's taken fourth spot. Roger Forbert there in fifth, and Taylor Mitchell in sixth. Seventh spot goes to Eamon Young. Alongside him will be Peter Vanderberg. Ninth spot is Nick Mitchell, and number 10 is our one and only Japanese entry of a English-born man, Toby Stent, running out the top 10. And we have a field of 17 cars this evening, so it should be a cool race. What have we got? Some info for the guys there, Shano, while these cars get ready to roll?
Yeah, 56 laps as they're just about to see the lights come up. So an endurance race tonight, 200 Ks, and they will have a compulsory pit stop, and there will be a random yellow at some point as we hear the revs come up now, so they're getting ready to go, and they're away, and it's Bruce that's got the jump. Rehan's reaction was a little bit slow there, and that's cost him. Bruce is going to take the lead down in towards turn one. He's on the outside though. Can Rehan fight back over on the inside as a couple of guys run over the poles through pitting exit there, and Rehan's able to get the spot and just hang Bruce out, who drops in behind Daniel Hedderside, and now coming under pressure from Sean McNamara as well.
Well, ripper of start from all of the guys and everyone keeping it on track.
Bit of three wide in the background there, but so far everyone all keeping it nicely together. Sean McNamara just showing the nose, having a look down the inside of Bruce Tannock. And at the back, everybody's still jostling for position, while everybody up the front has settled into single file. Rehan's jumped out to a nice lead already. Plenty of battles in behind him though, as we've still got some side by side through that part of the track where there's really only one real line, and you saw a couple of guys running off through the dirt as a result, as they all now file down in through the corkscrew. And still some side by side as they look to find their positions down through the corkscrew. Rehan coming down to the final corner now with nearly a 2-second lead already, so he has absolutely got on with business. Daniel Hedderside there in second position from Bruce Tannock. Sean McNamara knocking on the door of the podium with Taylor Mitchell just behind him.
Wow, what a crack of a starting lap there. Rehan already gapping out to second place by nearly 2.4 seconds. Looking pretty solid from the young fella, getting away nice and early and away from the dramas happening behind him. So we've got pretty tight battling taking place from positions 2 through to probably about 7th here at the moment, and then another wee battle pack just in behind that, not separated by much, just a second's gap between 10th and 11th spot, and then another tight grouping there.
A couple of big movers up the in the first couple of laps with Stefan Adams up 6 spots and Darren Lobb up 4. So already making some ground.
Yeah, Stefan Adams there just up into 10th spot, up 6 at the moment, and Darren Lobb from the rear of the pack in the MRP red and black liveried Mustang there just on the back of Stefan, up 6 spots respectively as well.
Yes, so Darren didn't put a time down in quali, and we know how quick he is, so I think he's either maybe not had the time to join in time to get a lap down in quali, or just doing the old back of the grid challenge to see if he can come through.
100%, and yeah, we can see some people dancing around here in front. Just having a look here at Nick Mitchell getting up alongside Toby Stent there, just falling back in behind him currently.
So Bruce Tannock's been able to find his way around Daniel Hedderside to move back into second position as well. Bruce won't be entirely happy with how that start went. He got a great launch, but probably just tried to fight a little bit too hard on the outside, where maybe if he'd recognised that he wasn't going to get the lead there and just conceded to Rehan a bit earlier, he might have had a better shot at holding on to second position. But as we can see, he's been able to regain that position now, and he'll look to see if he can go after Rehan, but it's a big gap to make up at the moment.
Yeah, we can see here from looking back at the start, here is the intensive battle between Bruce and Rehan.
So you can see there, Rehan just not getting the best of reactions. Got the car away okay when he did react, but just that little hesitation allowed Bruce to get on the outside of him there. And you can see here as they come in, Bruce trying to hold on the outside. Rehan hanging him out a little bit, although Daniel was right there behind Rehan anyway, so probably at that point, once Bruce was on the outside there was really not a lot he could do to try and hold Daniel off there. Daniel very, very well positioned and opportunistic move to be able to sneak through on the inside there.
100%, and yeah, there was probably a wee bit of limitation of Bruce not just opening that wheel up and holding a little bit wider. I think his intent on wanting to come down on the corner resulted in that wheel-to-wheel contact, which obviously had that detrimental effect of him being pushed wide out into some of the dirtier running area part of the track. But we can see, looking ahead, Rehan still capitalising a very strong lead and has now extended that out over to just over 7 seconds from spot 2 now. So tuned in a couple of laps ago, he was just a touch over 4 seconds. He's gone and added another 3 seconds of that to P2 there now. Bit of hot battling taking place back here between spot 8, 9 and 10. Darren Lobb right into the thick of it. He's managed to get past both of the Dirty Diesel cars of Eamon Young and Jason Cossey just in behind them. And he's now got Roger Forbert firmly in his sights coming down into the last corner.
Just a good battles further down the order here. Darren tucking it nicely on the inside through turn 2 there. He's going to be on the outside for 3 though. Can he go all the way around the outside of the Misfits car? He does manage to round him up there and get P7 off Roger Forbert. So next in his sights will be Toby Stent. A little bit of clear air till he gets to there, so he'll look to put in some good clean laps and see if he can close that gap down and challenge for P6.
Yeah, we'll have a look at the lap time through the next lap, what Darren's able to achieve. Rehan and Bruce up our front runners. They've Rehan's still lapping a second faster than what Bruce had on his previous lap. Rehan doing a 122.8 and Bruce did a 123.9. That was an identical replicated time by Daniel Hedderside in third spot as well. So looking at how those guys are tucking along, I think a low 23 will give us a good indication of how Darren's tracking along. As he comes up to the start finish line, we'll see a time number pop up on our board. That is a high 23, a 123.8, so a little bit quicker than our guys in spot 2 and 3, but not as quick as our current leader.
Of course, that time from Darren was still traffic affected as he made his way around Roger Forbert early in that lap. So this lap is, if he doesn't catch Toby on this lap, this will be his clear air pace that we're about to see.
Indeed. We're just tuned in here with Eamon Young in the Dirty Diesels Commodore. He's dropped a couple of spots from where he started, but he's still in the top 10, sitting on P9, and just behind him his teammate Jason Cossey is up 2 spots in the Dirty Diesel's Mustang.
Very cool thing about the sim racing community is within one team we've got two different cars there, so something that obviously in real racing you normally expect to see one team running one make of car, as they normally have a deal with a manufacturer, but here in the sim world you can run whatever car you choose, and I guess most teams will let you run whatever you feel like, and these guys each preferring to run different cars here.
Yeah, it is cool to see, and very interesting. I mean, if anyone wanted to know if there was any real advantage over either one of those 2 cars, you'd only have to have a look at how these guys go throughout their season. They often find themselves on track, and they often have great battles amongst themselves. They often finish up inside the top 10 and doing very, very similar lap times. So as far as parity goes, I think it just purely comes down to what car you think looks better on track to run. So it's an awesome series to get involved in. Very tough car and challenging to run. Whitey, you were out there earlier during the practice session cutting a few laps. You've had a bit of some runs in your DSA Sylvan Commodore with the Bathurst 1000s and events like that. What's your honest opinion of the iRacing V8 Supercar?
They're a lot of fun to drive. Obviously I can't compare it to the real thing because I've never been fortunate enough to jump behind the wheel of a real V8 Supercar, but I mean certainly the characteristic that you hear most often about Supercar is very difficult to drive, a lot of power, a lot of diff, making it hard to get that power down, and that certainly seems to be what iRacing have achieved with their virtual version of the car. And yeah, it's very, very challenging to drive, very challenging to get the power down cleanly, and you have to be very aware of how you're driving it to get good lap times out of it.
That's good. And Corey's decided to go and take himself for a wee mutie. Maybe he's going and checking in on our Div 2 series for a wee bit. We'll catch up with him. But I know Corey used to run the V8s back in the day, and I was wondering if he'd had a recent pedal in one. So it'd be good to hear what his opinion of is. But yeah, to anyone at home who would be interested in seeing what it's like for themselves, there are some pretty cheap entry level hardware you can get yourself to get yourself involved. An iRacing subscription would be the next thing to look at, and then you can go and sign yourself up for an awesome league like our one. Come and get involved with some awesome racing drivers who have gone toe to toe with some of the best real life drivers as well, and hear from them on how they do things. Rehan, who's currently up the front here, now stretched his lead out to 11.5 seconds. His dad Laseth runs some driver training programs in the V8s, and if you're unsure if it's worth it or not, I mean, you only have to look at how this young fella's going behind the wheel of this simulated car here on track.
Yeah, chatting to some of the guys who are heavily involved in Laz's coaching clinic, hearing some things coming out of that in regards to Laz looking to set something up for Rehan to get into a real car, so there could be big news coming in that regard in the not too distant future, so very excited to see what happens there.
Wow, that'd be really, really awesome. Now, just having a squiz back, I just missed that pass there on that Darren did that Darren achieved over Taylor to move himself into the 4th spot, which is a monumental charge from Darren from back of the field now up 13 spots to get to where he is. So I'll just have a quick touch on that one, how Darren sized that move.
Back into the corkscrew, Taylor leaving room on the inside there, and Darren able to get the job done on the brakes, and that's a really tricky place to try and outbrake someone, because the braking area there is far from straight, and these cars definitely prefer to do most of their braking in a straight line. You do tend to trail brake into the corner as well, but definitely the initial hard braking and the downshifting likes to be done in a straight line, and it's very hard to try and get the car pulled up in the twisty braking zone just on its own, let alone trying to fire it down the inside of another car as well.
Yeah, just as we see Darren approaching that corner there again from our chase cam behind the car, it does give a pretty good indication of what that corner is like on approach. We'll give it another look there shortly when they come back round. I'll have a quick look and see what it looks like from inside Daz's car. It'd probably be as good as what you'd see from coming up on that corner approach. We'll just stay on board with Darren for a wee bit as he comes around through the track here. So I'm not expecting you to give us a flying lap, Shane, but there's a few corners that you can probably call out for us.
Just coming round through turn 3 here. Getting 4th gear on the way into turn 4 and just keeping it in 4th all the way through on the trail braking through the corner up to 5th gear and on the brakes under the bridge and back to 3rd gear here.
Yeah, coming up is a really technical part of the track, as hard, as funny as it sounds.
Yeah, very tricky left-hand corner there. Darren actually took a lot of that inside curb there, which does tend to unsettle the car, and you saw him get quite loose, and then this tricky braking zone again on the brakes, turning all the way through, and then dropping down. Not too dissimilar to the dipper at Bathurst, actually, just with the walls a little bit further away.
What I'm seeing though from the driver perspective there is a lot of blind approach to some of those corners and braking points. Is obviously fairly technically challenging on the driver. A lot of muscle memory involved.
Yeah, definitely. And as you commit to the corkscrew, it's very hard to see where the corner exit is, and I'm told there's actually a tree that you can aim for on the way through there. I've never been able to quite find the right tree, but I'm told there's a tree.
I think it's the left tree. That's your problem. It's the left tree, not the right tree.
Right.
That's the wrong tree. Yeah, it's one of those things you'd have to probably break it down frame by frame, because I'm pretty sure there's about 4 trees that line the fence line straight ahead of the dipper, and by the time you think you've found the tree, you've probably missed your muscle memory turn-in point that you're supposed to have hit. So certainly not something you want to be mucking around with too many times. But let's see if we can spot the left tree, wrong tree scenario as Macca comes into the dipper here. So it's that tree there.
Yeah, that one.
Out
of the four.
That was exactly my thought when somebody said aim for the tree. I'm like, I could see a number of trees here.
Yeah. So Corey's joined back in with us. Corey, I don't know if you were listening in before, or whether you jumped across down to tune into the Div 2 guys to see how they're getting on with things. But you used to turn some wheels in the V8s back in the day. I got Shane's opinion of them. What's your memory of them, and I suppose when was the last time did you take the Super V8 out for a spin?
It's actually been a while since I've actually done it for a race. Be a couple of years, I think. I enjoyed it. It's always been a good crowd of people racing the V8. You know, they're all wanting the same thing, you know. And being Kiwis, you know, the V8s is probably the foremost of, you know, the motorsport. Because most of us are bogans, I guess. Is that your, how is
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah.
Yep. So, some of us just keep our mullets tied up in a tight little bow. The rest
Some of us
us.
can grow a mullet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not my favourite motorsport. I prefer GTs myself.
Yep.
And yeah, but there's always a good crew, like, and it's always been the most popular, I'd say, of the series. Especially, even it doesn't even matter what sim you're in. The V8s are still fairly popular.
Yes. Yeah, and you'd agree, massive credit to anyone who can work out the complexities of how to get one of these things, let alone just around the track, but in some form of decent shape or form, and without career ending crashing.
It takes an enormous amount of practice in these to be consistently good. Some people naturally are just a little bit better, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. And it's been a statement I've said before, and has been now for nearly a couple of years since jumping into the broadcasting lounge. I much prefer to watch these things and commentate on them rather than get out there and try to drive them. Although I do say that I put on a really good reverse burnout.
Reverse burnout.
Yep. Because I've had to recover from trying to slam into the wall so many times.
Right, there we go. Yeah. I was trying to picture what it would look like, and being around the V8s for over a long period of time, and you see the evolution of it. But when I first started on iRacing, we only had one Ford. That was the original Ford Falcon, and then they brought, I think, the VF Commodore come out after that, and then they did another the FGX.
Yep.
And then I just managed to get myself a sim. It was about mid to late 2019, so just before COVID. I managed to pick up a sim for less than $1,000.
Yep.
And then come COVID, that same sim was probably, the price escalated that much, triple the value basically.
Yeah.
Good timing.
Certainly is.
But it was about the same time when this generation came out on iRacing, just before COVID, and that's when it took off.
Certainly
it was when this place was born.
Yeah, and certainly. Oh, there we go. As we see Evan Young not finding the right tree and picking up a slowdown penalty there, and now allowing his teammate Jason Cossey to go on by, and he's still actually modulating the gas, trying to bleed away a bit of time. So he's now at risk with Daniel Nolan to be able to sneak up and down the inside here, but not quite enough. So looks like Dan might have a bit of work on his hand. So just to give people an update of where everyone sits at the moment, we'll tick down through the positional order quickly. So that is Rehan still leading. No one's stopped as of yet, apart from one who's at the rear, which we will talk about shortly. So Rehan there in first with a monumental 17.4 second lead. So the last time we checked in with him, he was only 7.4 seconds. So he's gone and found another 10 seconds of time there out from spot number 2.
That's enormous out of around such a small track to be picking up that sort of time.
Yeah, it is. It is huge, and I mean we've always said Rehan is pretty much the pinnacle of driver that's come along. That's been the hardest one to race and challenge, and then there's certain tracks that he brings himself along to where he goes and takes that a step further, and just makes an absolute mockery out of everyone. So hold your head high, mate. You're an absolute champion in our eyes, and seriously looking forward to seeing where your future goes with any form of racing that you're involved in. Bruce Tannock sitting there in second spot, so no change for our front runners on their positional spots. It's just he's just trailing Rehan by 18 seconds. I don't think that's going to be enough to be able to pick up through a pit stop, do you think, Shane?
No, certainly a big gap to try and make up. Yeah, it would take a massive undercut to reel that gap in. So pit strategy not something that's going to be on either of those guys' minds at the moment, but there is still a safety car potentially to come into play a bit later on.
Of course, yeah. So yeah, we might see a bit of a stacking of cars later in a virtual sense. The random yellow card still to be played. So jumping back down here, this is spot number 3, and this guy here started from the back, so he's up 14 spots into third spot, and he's only 3.6 seconds away from spot 2. So I'd say out of anyone on track, with the type of battling he's had to do with getting through cars and the time gains he's made.
Teammates together, bit of data. You might have a bit of data there, Doug. Jason Cossey.
Yep, I just had both of those pop up as well, so we'll get to them in a second. So falling back from Darren, we have Daniel Heddershide there. He's just down one spot from where he qualified into 4th, and same with this man here, just down one spot from where he qualied into 5th. That is Sean McNamara himself, the beautiful SDI liveried Mustang there. Taylor Mitchell, just as I click on, having a world of drama coming out of there, and did a very good job to hang on to it. Is currently in 6th spot, maybe at risk of losing that spot to Toby Stent just in behind him now, who's already up 3 spots into position number 7. So Toby is our Kiwi man over in Japan land, and you can see he's trying to get some Morse code language of sent to Taylor there. Roger Forbert there in the Misfits entry, down to 3 from where he started, but that's position number 8 for him. Daniel Nolan walks himself inside the top 10. That's P9 for him currently, up 4 from where he started. Jason Cossey up 2 from where he had started. And the Dirty Diesels entry there, so he's inside the top 10. Teammate Eamon Young falling back a wee bit from where he was earlier on, down 4, just outside the top 10 in spot 11. Nick Mitchell, similar run from him, a bit of a challenging start. 3 spots down the order from where he started, he is into spot number 12. Okay, and Brody Scott and Stefan Adams exchanging words possibly there at the breaking point of turn, I suppose it's turn 1 really, and that's so Brody Scott there in 13th. Stefan there in 14th spot. Might even just have a quick double check on that one of how that took place.
Yeah, I've just gone back and had a look at it. No contact between the two. Stefan just got his braking wrong.
They'd actually been having a bit of a battle for a few laps. They'd gone maybe swap positions a few times.
Oh,
so
just
Stefan looking to fire down the inside, and Brody covered, and as he looked to switch back to the outside, Stefan just got a bit unstable and wasn't able to get it pulled up cleanly there.
Unfortunate. So down here in spot 15, Ryan Cottrell taken away in the number 11 Mustang. No change of spot for him, so just cruising along, keeping it healthy. Tony Lynch, there's the other Dirty Diesels entry car there, car number 45, down 5 spots. Peter Vanderberg, bit out of order and had a crash earlier on, so let's have a squiz at what's resulted in him dropping 9 spots and taking a ticky tour in pit lane.
Oh, looks like the engine's
Sounded
gone there.
like a blown motor.
So that's unfortunate for last season's Div 2 champion. Has been promoted to Div 1 this season and absolutely blown away he is by the level of talent in here. But for the most part, he's been able to hold his own. But unfortunately, this race just going a bit hard on the downshifts and blowing that engine.
So, Pete, with the tow and the pit stop, was only in there for 1 minute and 27 seconds. So, it is just a touch over a lap speed time. It's
Yeah,
not,
quite late
yeah.
on the lap it was there. He pulled up just at the corkscrew, so not too far from pit exit. So quite fortunate it was quite a short tow there. If it had been earlier in the lap, it may have been much longer. As Peter coming in to make a second pit stop now.
Yeah. So I was wondering whether or not he had used the opportunity to take some tyres. There's still a compulsory pit stop for the lads. 4 tyres to be taken, and then just the fuel to be able to get themselves through to the end. So it'll be interesting to see how long the stop takes him this time round. Obviously the fuel going in will certainly cover off taking tyres anyway.
Yeah, I would assume he had fulfilled, well, he would have fulfilled his compulsory pit stop requirement of 4 tyres when he took the tow, but whether he wasn't quite able to get all the fuel in, or potentially even just looked at it as lap 4, a long way to go on a set of tyres to get to lap 56, so made the call to pit again midway through the race and get some fresh tyres on. I had wondered when I saw him coming in and get for a second stop if that was for a drive-through penalty for incident points, but looking at that now, everybody's actually doing remarkably well on that at this stage, so
Cool.
they're limited to 16 incident points, I believe. 17 incident points. Yep. And the highest I'm seeing at the moment, there's a few guys on 6. Eamon Young, Jason Costley, Broden Scott, and Stephen Adams all on 6, which,
Wow.
22 laps into the race, is actually very impressive.
Cool. Well, it's a good update as well. So 22 laps in currently, with Rehan leading by 22.7 seconds over Bruce Tannock, who's now got his mirrors full with the red and black MRP entry of Darren Lobb in third spot there, up 14 spots respectively after not being able to get a qualifying time down and making his way through the field over those laps. So nearly 23 laps out of our 56 lap feature race this evening, our endurance race this evening.
Correct.
Yep. And yeah, that's a special thanks to this week to OKMS, Media and Graphics. It's Brett O'Keefe's baby there. He does some wicked stuff with race photography, graphical designs for the cars out there on track. Yeah, so if you're in the need of wanting to get a livery design done, whether you've got some new sponsors on board or whether you're just looking for something new, hot and fresh, get in touch with him. He puts together a really cool looking bit of kit and he can customise it to how you wish. And yeah, just find him on Facebook there, OKMS Media and Graphics, flick him a message and see what he can do for you.
Yeah, BJ's going to put together a photo shoot from tonight's race as well, so look out for that coming in the not too distant future, as photo shoots are always very good, so looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, certainly manages to find a lot more detail and artistic flair than what is often missed from.
Oh, big moment for Bruce, lighted it up off the final corner. Darren's going to look to tuck into the slipstream and he's got a big run. Bruce is going to cover the inside, so Darren goes outside. Can he swing it all the way around the outside? Is he late enough on the brakes? Bruce able to hold him off for now and gets back in front. Darren looking to switch back on the inside, but again that's going to put him on the outside and look to fire it down the inside into turn 3 there, but Bruce able to just hold him off for now. but certainly plenty of pressure coming on him from down low behind.
Wow, and not to say that Darren has had easy passes coming up through the field, because this is our Div 1 series, but if he's going to find any challenge on being able to get past someone, it would be Bruce. He's just been bullied into making a bit of a mistake looking in the mirrors there. Once again, ran a wee bit wide, not too wide, didn't lose too much out of it. Darren's checked up and allowed him to come back onto track. He's probably been someone who's been bitten once before from someone going off on that sand and then trying to rejoin in a hurry. Shane, we've all been there. What does it feel like when you're sizing a car up and you see them run wide? You feel like the lolly jar lid has been opened, and then all of a sudden the man behind the counter comes out with a roller, eh?
100%, and you got to remember that the guy's got dirty tyres as he's coming back onto the track, and that's a tricky enough spot to try and pass somebody when both guys have got optimum grip conditions. So if you know you're coming up on a guy that's got dirty tyres, I think it was a good call from Darren there to just bide his time a little bit, not jump on the opportunity when it presented us like I think most of us would. He just had a bit more patience, recognised that it was probably going to be a high risk, low yield situation there, and he just decided against it. He's bided his time, and you can see he's all over the rear bumper of Bruce again, and he'll look to see if it can set something up towards the end of this lap. He's certainly closing right in under the rear wing into the corkscrew, but not able to find a way around Bruce. Went a little bit wide at the first apex there. Not sure if that was something deliberate to try and carry a bit more momentum, or if he just got his line a little bit wrong, not able to spot the apex under the rear wing there. Certainly get it tucked on much nicer there. He's going to show the nose, slot back in behind. I think he's pressured Bruce into going a little bit deep there, but Bruce has got a good enough exit, kept the traction this time.
I'm really wondering how much Bruce is leaning on those tyres, though.
Well, the same has to be said of Darren, because he's come all the way through from the back of the field, made a lot of passes, going offline a lot, getting them dirty, sliding them around. That's not going to be good for the tyre life.
Yeah, certainly a reflection back to a couple of laps ago when we jumped in on this battle and saw Bruce really fire up those rears and skated across to the inside coming out of the last corner, which has really allowed Darren to capitalise on closing in that margin. As in the background, I'm pretty sure I just saw Peter Vanderberg take another wee walk off the track, so certainly not Peter's night tonight. But this battle here is something else to be said. While these guys continue to play their game, as Bruce just does magical things with the car to keep it under control, it's an insanity. This gentleman out here in front, the young kid from Aussie, now 29.3 seconds ahead of the rest of them. And you'd consider the margin here between Darren and Bruce is only 4 hundredths of a, is that right? 4 hundredths of a second?
4/10ths of a second.
There we go, 4/10ths of a second. So there's a significant margin, P1 to P2, falling back from the tight battle pack. Daniel Heddershaw, the next one in line for a podium, sits just over, just a touch over 9.5 seconds back from this battle pack. But we're going to stay tuned in here at the moment whilst this is taking place. Darren, I think, has really made the smart decision of just keeping himself as glued to the back of that car as possible, without really doing too much to try and make an aggressive pass. It would almost be detrimental. We know how defensive the great white shark can be, and he's very quick to reposition the car on track as well. So when you think a door is open, you've got to think twice, because it's probably going to get shut in your face pretty quickly. So Darren just sitting there and be just watching to see where Bruce makes a mistake again, and he's watched a few corners go by now where he's seen him do that. So he's probably thinking his strategy of getting Bruce to look into his mirrors a bit more is working.
Yeah, 100%. And I just wonder as well when Darren might start to think about the undercut. We're going to be hitting the halfway mark at the end of this lap, so...
Wow, cool.
And nobody... Well, Sean McNamara has actually just dived for the pits.
Yep, I can see him.
Other than that, just Peter Vanderberg having taken 2 stops. Nobody else has jumped on that opportunity to take a pit stop yet. So are they trying to stretch the fuel as far as it will go? Maybe just stretch the tyres a little bit longer on the first stint to give them less to do on the second stint. Certainly Darren in this position probably has the most to gain from looking to get in, get some fresh air and put an undercut move on Bruce, as he's right under
100%.
that rear wing and unable to find a way around.
Yeah, no, that's 100% correct. I think Darren would be certainly best to look at coming in and taking a stop and trying to make the undercut. At the same time, though, it's a hard one, because he has already been watching Bruce been making some small mistakes. Another few small mistakes may result in quite a significant off. That would definitely give Darren the breathing room that he desires, and certainly keep it in the back of his head that it would be a long time to recover that gap margin again.
I guess the other thing as well is it was communicated to all the drivers that there would be a safety car in this race, so if they're thinking it might come quite late in the race, they might be all wanting some fresher rubber to fight with towards the end. The other thing for them to be aware of is there's no guarantee that safety car will come outside of the pit window. If it comes when others have pitted and they haven't, with the iRacing rules closing the pits as Bruce goes off and Darren gets that position. And just to finish my thought there, if the safety car does come out while some have pitted and others haven't, that will massively advantage those that have pitted, because with the iRacing rules closing the pits when the safety car comes out, those guys will have to wait until the pits open once the fields bunch up to take their pit stop, and the guys that have already pitted will jump straight to the front of the field.
100%. Just going to have a squiz back on that pass, because I'm wondering how that gap margin between him and Darren closed up so fast. I'm wondering if Darren shortcutted going through the corkscrew a wee bit and picked up a slowdown. So just going to have a bit of a look back and dissect what happened moving on forward from him there. Not too much.
It's certainly slowed up. Looked all okay through the corkscrew, but interesting. He's certainly slowed up and allowed Bruce to catch up. So maybe he's just enjoying the battle and didn't want to drive away from him.
Yeah, possibly quite. Something there. Maybe he. I don't think he gave him a touch going into 6. That sent him out wide, because he obviously hasn't redressed the position. But yeah, it was almost like he decided not to worry about shifting out of 4th gear and carry on driving out of the corkscrew, just under engine load and torque there. Interesting. So we have had a few people go through the pits now, so let's have a touch on those. So Sean McNamara at the top of the list of the guys being through the pit. So he currently sits back down in our 13 spot. Just behind him, Roger Forbert in 14th. He's been through. Ryan Cottrell has had a stop, and interestingly enough, still sitting in 15th spot where he started. Tony Lynch, he's been through, and as we know, Peter Vanderberg has been through to take to get a quick engine repair done, and he's done his official stop for the night. So everyone around the same sort of timings, around that 23 to high 24 seconds. Sean being the one who took slightly longer there in the pits. Bit of a battle forming here on the back of Daniel Nolan, who sits in 7th spot. He's got a Jason Cossey down the inside of him. It was quite a good, nice, tidy move there, really. And Dan respecting the space and just opening that wheel a little bit just to make sure that they didn't have any touch going through. They'll be happy about the battle that they've got going on. Eamon Young just in behind them. Be looking at seeing if he can lock onto the back of Dan's draft so he can keep up with following Jason around the track. So you see Bruce has reacted to coming into the pit lane there now, as Darren had stretched his gap out over Bruce to nearly a couple of seconds. So it'll be interesting to see now. What lap are we on there, Shano?
Sitting on lap 32 now.
Wow, 32 of 56. And
So yeah, over here in Div 2, they're sitting on lap 32 as well, so that's pretty cool. They're still running the same. Obviously,
Great.
they haven't had their safety car yet.
Okay, yep.
But yeah, it's over here. We've got top 10, so Quinn Wilson, Nico Scholes, Scott McKenzie, Derek Lovegrove, Luke Bradley, Steve Darren, Nick Bakey, Stonesy, Glenn Collison, and Simon Nathan rounds out your top 10. So there's a few cars a lap down by the looks of it already. So he's in 10th, Simon, and he's a lap down on the rest of the crew. So I'm not too sure what's happened.
Wow.
But yeah, so that's what's happening over here. Div who?
Yeah, listening to the names you took it down through the list, there's certainly a lot of those guys inside the top 10 on the standings there. A few that I heard were had potentially swapped a few positions around. Where was Quinn Wilson inside that top 10? I might have missed his name.
Yeah, Quinn Wilson, he started on pole. So it looks like Quinn, it says he gridded first. Nico Scholes is up 11 spots.
Wow.
Glenn Collison, he's up 19 spots, sitting in 8th. A few other big movers through here as well. So Simon Nathan, he's up 14. Grant Bristow, he's up 17. Rob Higgins is up 13, and he looks to be the first of the cars that have pitted. Simon Nathan, sorry, so he's in 10th, so he's pitted. So that was why he was a lap down. There we go.
Cool, awesome update across from the Div 2 there. Thank you for that, Corey. And yeah, so we see Rehan going on by there, Dan Nolan, who's gone into the pits from P9. I almost don't even want to say how far into the lead he is currently.
Yeah,
He's
33 seconds. That's massive.
to break that down. That he's pretty much gapped the P2 a second a lap.
He's going to have to be promoted to Div 0, I think.
What I think we need to do is send that young fella a Supercars NZ hat. Just say thanks for coming. You can hang your hat up now.
He'd be in line for a trophy, would he?
Yeah, exactly. Monstrous effort. I know Dad's certainly enjoying tuning in from home. A few comments up there on the live board there. He's having a good bit of a backward and forward chat with Scott Pickering. And Terry, we see you there with a few of your comments. Totally agree with all of that. So no, we answering Terry's question there. The last one coming through is asking if we have a standings board of where everyone's sitting. Usually, yes. Tonight, no. Why? Because the live data timing that we use sometimes from time to time corrupts itself, usually after an update's taken place on iRacing, and they haven't been able to come up with a fix for that just yet. So by Thursday night, when the GT3s will be running, they usually have that squared away and sorted. But yeah, so you just have to live with us ticking through and giving you the updates on the gaps and the times and who's sitting where, and believe us.
The way you said believe us, I'm not sure I want to believe you now.
Believe us. Yeah, so Sean McNamara leading the race currently. I'm going to bring Sean up. He's sitting down there in the PG channel. I don't know who put him there, but he can come up. We can have a chat. Hey ho, McNamara.
How's it going, Shawnee?
Yeah, good after my little exit there, and I'm thinking because I've hit it early to try and get the undercut, I'm not feeling like I'm confident. I'm not confident. So we have to wait and see.
So you're referring to what took place on lap 22 when you went off the track?
Yeah, big tank slapper.
Okay, so we'll have a look at this.
Oh, thanks. Bring it back up.
Just-
Oh, I love it.
Oh, that's an effort.
Oh.
Oh, that's an effort.
Yeah, I lost 2 spots, but
Kept it off the wall, but you picked up about 3 tonne of gravel through your front splitter.
yeah, that's correct. And then I
Looked
put
like
to
you were
the
looking
undercut.
looked like you were looking for a paddock pass there.
Yeah, well, I did. I was a long way off. I was actually visiting your mum in her tent.
Oh, really?
Hope your mum's not listening. I take that back. I don't do that. Only joking, mate. Only joking. But,
I thought you were tuning in to check on the guys in the trailer to see if they got the hot dogs turning.
yeah, mate, it was a shocker. But I was quite proud of a few little passes there, and
Been tuning in, seen a few of those.
yeah. So I've been keeping incidents down too, which is what you want in a big long race. I'm definitely not going to have a drive-through. So I don't know about everyone else around me. I'm sure you guys could tell me what's going on there.
Wow, we checked on that before, and yeah, Shane, it was quite surprising to hear where some of the numbers were at.
Yeah, it's been quite impressive. There are a few guys up to 9 now, so everybody's still on single digits, which I think is bloody impressive for this far into a long race. But
Yeah.
we are only just over halfway, and certainly less than halfway for those guys that are on 9. So there's the potential there that they might need to be a little bit more careful through the second half of the race, but certainly impressive numbers there.
I was watching one car. I'm sure he would have been in double digits. A little bit worrying because I thought I was going slow on purpose just to keep it on the track. But anyway.
Yeah, well, you've got to learn where you can manipulate those off tracks, Sean, where you can run out a bit wider than you think and not pick up an off track.
Yes, which I've not done that. I didn't do any training of cheating, so I put it cheating.
It's not cheating if you don't get penalised, right?
100%.
As most race car drivers know, they'll take an inch or a mile to win a race, won't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you just look at that guy in NASCAR to win, to just get onto the podium. He rode the wall like a full noise.
That's cheating.
Well,
That's
it wasn't
the
then,
law.
but they've written a rule in now to say you can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's why do most people not like Richie McCaw that aren't New Zealanders? It's because he was cheating the laws, bending them as far as he could at a competitive level for a long time.
That's right, but then what does that do? It only makes the people that are supposed to be scrutinising those rules tune in more, and what you end up with is actually good quality rugby.
That's right. Yeah. And this weekend there'll be some good quality rugby. Be rude not to shout the All Blacks out, wouldn't it?
Certainly will be, and just like this guy back here in last spot, our residential South African Peter Vanderberg in last spot. That's where
what happened to him?
they're going to be. That's where they will be.
As well. He's another resident South African.
Well, I see on
Yeah,
my
but
data he's flying an Australian flag, so I don't think he
Peter's
really
running
knows
the green
where.
colours. Peter's running the green colours, so he's more representative of the Springboks, I think.
So, look at that. With Jason Cossey just coming into the pits now, and Darren Lobb is our only person left to have not stopped.
So I think last week we had the same conversation about him running long. He went long on his tyres.
He did. He did indeed. So he certainly walked out there with a full tank of gas, cut through the field as he comes into the pit lane now. So couldn't have got the timing any better on that one. He's certainly going to lose spot number spot number 1 to Rehan as he's gliding on by now.
He really couldn't have got the timing any better, because look what we've got now. Yellow flag.
Oh wow, there we go. So that's going to be really quite interesting to see how this works. So Darren in the pit, he's done a 12-second stop, 15-second stop now, coming up to 23 seconds he's dropped, and Bruce Tannock is only just coming out of the final corner now. So he's going to be there, spot number 2. You're probably going to have some lap traffic between him and Rehan, unless of course they get a iRacing wave round. But we will see. There's not going to be any manual wave rounds for the guys out there. Macca had put that out earlier in the week. It will just be iRacing rules. Take it as it comes. And yeah, so McNamara, here he is, just saving gas now, gliding along there in spot 5. You've pretty much got back to where you were with inside those that opening 6 or 7 laps, Macca. What's your thoughts moving forward?
Oh, I wish I had better tyres though. I think the undercut, I knew there was going to be yellow, but I didn't know when. And I think I've sort of undone myself. I should have stayed with the 2 in front of me and just pitted with them. And
what do you mean you didn't know? Are you saying that the admin don't cheat and tell each other when we're going to be doing things?
Oh, well, no, we didn't. I did know, and then I said go away and redo it. And I like that, you know. I mean, I'd rather if wherever I end up, I end up in my merit, not by knowing something, some in my knowledge. So as we know, all know, it's like playing golf. I'm sure you're a bit of a cheater at golf, there, Shane. You know, kick the ball out. You know, miss counting the extra shot.
But throw the club over to the next.
Few gimmies.
If I played golf, I imagine I would have to cheat, because I'd be constantly pulling the bloody thing out of the sand traps or the trees. I'd always be exceeding my stroke limit if I didn't cheat.
Oh, you
nothing
can't talk
wrong
about
with
the stroke
exceeding your
limit.
stroke limit.
All right, PG channel, guys. Let's get this above board.
Oh, if only I had something on the soundboard for that.
I was just thinking, if this was a Thursday night, you'd hear Sean absolutely laughing away, a few beer cans toppling over or bottles tipping, and another one getting pulled out of the fridge. You'd hear the subtle clinks of ice from our residential drunk Wayne.
I've not caught the field. I've done 3 laps under yellow. I've not seen the field. Here we go. They're just up here.
That's because I'm on the safety car.
Damn it!
Yeah, that's it. It's behind the safety car.
So there we go.
Lights are out, so we restarting this lap.
Look at that go.
There's still no safety car over here in Div 2.
Wow.
He probably forgot about it.
Is he still in the session?
Who's in control of the safety car over here?
That'd be Steve.
Steve.
Darren.
Well, he's in second.
Yeah, that'd be right.
He probably doesn't want to give it away.
The state rules don't apply to Div 2 about cheating.
He hasn't pitted yet.
So there's Rehan, and he's got 1, 2... Hang on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... 7 cars between him and second, and spots 2 and 3 are right behind one another. So Rehan doing his best backing up the field. He's gapped it now.
Yeah, so that car's in the mix. Looks like Peter immediately jumping out of the way.
Yeah, he did. So Darren Lobb already got his hands full with one of the fully floored cars, teammate there of Daniel Heddershide's. And they've both been able to work their way round.
Oh,
Mac is off in the back.
That's what Macca's big sigh was for. He's gone around.
Yeah, yellows have never done me any favours.
That's a harsh one.
I might have turned down there was a car there, so who knows? All good.
There was, and it actually looked like they tried to help keep you moving in the right direction, but
Yeah, it's all good.
it's the racing, unfortunately.
Certainly a lot going on that restart, and just a bit unfortunate, I think.
Yeah, and the issues that Macca had there with a couple of the drivers around him have then coincidentally gone on to have their own dramas together as well, so might not be too long before Sean gets back into the mix of that one.
Fire you back down the bottom there, Macca. You get your head back in there and make up some spots.
Yeah, we'll see. It's alright. That's alright. It's not the worst thing that can happen.
Thanks, Shawnee. There he goes, back down into his wee quiet box so he can concentrate on what's happening. So, Rehan's massive 34-second lead with the restart. A few lapped cars in the way of our drivers is now only 4.6 seconds ahead of Darren Lobb, who has one more lapped car in front of him to get by. He has been able to put a few cars between himself and Bruce, so Bruce now got the ever-challenging Nick Mitchell in front of him, RX car there to be able to get by. And then two very quick and stable Dirty Diesel entry cars to try and round up as well. It's a bit of a hard one for the guys to pick as to what they want to do, because it being such a hard track to pass on, but trying to respect that blue flag that they will have indicated to them, but at the same time they're still racing for their own positions there. And considering that those guys are battling for positions around the top 10, it's still pretty healthy points in the championship, and it's healthy points for our first endurance round of 3 races within the series too.
Yeah, 100%. I think the best way to do it in that situation is hold your line to the point where, obviously, if the guy's on the inside of you, you give room, but at the same time while still being respectful of the fact that he is trying to race at the front, and you do have to an extent, make a bit of room, but I don't think it needs to go as far as people jumping right out of the way and coming out of the gas. I think that quite often causes more problems than it helps, especially if there's a number of lap cars all trying to get through. Eventually you end up meeting the racing line, and normally on the apex of the corner, and if you're going really slow when you get there, it can cause a lot of issues. So I think these guys handled it really well, carrying on with their race, not holding up the leaders too much, but Bruce just not quite able to find the way around Nick at the moment.
Yeah, and you know, that's 100% fair to say, as it looks like Nick's just opened up that window now for him to be able to get on by, and it's probably the smartest part of the track to be able to do it coming down into that braking zone, because there is a number of ways you can approach that double left-hander. I would say Nick's lost next to nothing from being able to do that, and now he can sit in behind Bruce for a wee bit and you know, potentially get a bit of a toe in some of those spots and help pull him back onto the two cars that he's chasing in front of him. With a track as short as this and twisty as it is, like you were saying before, holding your line on the racing line and making that the definitive line that you're going to race is the best thing you can do, because as soon as you try to move yourself offline and look in your mirror to try and determine where the other car is, you can very quickly trip yourself up over top of one of those, that car trying to pass you from behind, just purely because of the nature of the switching of sides that you've got to be on the track. So Nick had his hands full there for a minute. Looked like he could have been able to make a bit of a challenge on Emin Young, but both points just outbraking himself a wee bit, falling off the natural turn-up points in those corners. Bruce now being able to round up all three of those guys to get himself back in line with having Darren in front of him. As we can see, Darren just out of that corner exit ahead. That gap margin from Bruce to Darren's now 4.5 seconds. Darren's got a 5.5 second gap to Rehan, who is still leading this race.
Yes, I was interested to see, once Darren had cleared all those lap cars, I was interested to see what his pace was going to be like relative to Rehan. Rehan's showing very good pace on this stage of the race, especially considering he put tyres 4 laps before Darren came in, and Rehan able to put down a 22.7 as his last lap, where Darren's last lap was a 23.2, so half a second quicker Rehan was able to go there, so still putting very good times in and showing that he's going to have what it takes to hold on unless Darren can find something truly special on these closing stages.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, without calling it too soon, I think the only thing that's going to stop Rehan tonight would be sudden power failure. He's absolutely commanded this track from qualifying through to race start to race restart. Looking at that restart that he had was brilliant. You know, he successfully backed everyone up on that final corner, where he was then able to make his move and drop the hammer. And when the guys that he's in contention to lose a spot out to, being Darren or Bruce, and they were already 7 cars behind, that chain effect of just waiting that little bit longer when everyone else was expecting him to go, that flow-on effect down the chain resulted in a very smart play of him being able to jump and get back into stretching his legs ahead of them. As we see another lap about to finish, and we see Rehan coming back around the track again. We'll be able to check in and see how that last lap time ticks up against his previous. He's done just under 123 with a 22.96. Darren Lobb will be coming across the line any second now, if he hasn't already. He has, and that was a 23.3. So still very much within that 4/10 of a second, up to a half a second gap. So don't know whether he's going to be able to have enough in the tank, even though he's got some pretty fresh tyres out there, to close that margin down. I'd be wanting to certainly see him replicating the same lap times now, moving forward towards the end, as Shane gives us the update with how many laps to go.
Yeah, so we've just gone inside 10 laps, so getting down to the business end now, and like you say, at the moment, looks like Rehan's got the better pace of the two at the moment, just able to extend that lead, but anything can happen. Like you alluded to, there could be some sort of power failure, there could be some sort of gear failure, some utterly useless admin could accidentally boot him from the race.
I'm happy you said it, because I was just about to.
And I've certainly called a battle between these two, which in fairness was much closer than this, but with a few corners to go at Mosport, I called it in, I believe I called it in Rehan's favour, and he had a ran out of fuel or something. No, Rehan might have been chasing actually, and Darren was in front, and I called it in Darren's favour, coming through the last sequence of corners. Ran out of fuel, and Rehan was able to get around him and take the win. So,
And yeah,
anything
what
can happen.
certainly wasn't without a nice bit of door to rear hip action and a late defensive dive towards the inside wall by Darren. It was probably one of the most spectacular finishes we had seen by far between these two. Certainly a memory that lingers on for me as well. Can remember certainly seeing some of those snapshots. We may have to look at putting up a bit of a historical finishing picture set sometime on our Supercars NZ page from our battles over the years, close finishes and monumental pile-ups. It could be quite a bit of a cool montage to flick through for some of our more newer subscribees to the community page, and also something for our followers on here on the broadcasting channel. Don't be afraid to jump onto that community page, Supercars NZ community, and give it a like, a follow, and keep up to date with all the bits and pieces of action that's going to be taking place.
Bit of a Div 2 update. We get a moment.
Go for it.
Well, Quinn Wilson's still in control, so we're at lap 49, so 7 laps to go. You've got Steve Darren 16 seconds behind him in second place. He's just having to navigate a car spinning in front of him at the corkscrew.
Wow.
Stonesy's made his way up to third from 9th on the grid. Scott McKenzie is he's up from 11th up to 4th. So then Derek Lovegrove, Brent Bennett, Nico Scholes, Nick Bakey, Simon Nathan, Daniel Turner rounding out your top 10.
Wow, there we go. So yeah, certainly a Quinn Wilson showing his might from moving across in the GT3 series, where he's had some great racing and some wins over there, and coming over to the Super V8s this season, having a run in the Div 2 Championship, not having ever really raced them before. A few races in, and he's been pretty much on the money week after week since then. He's got a pretty capitalised lead in the championship as well. I think he's nearly 100 points over second place, and looking at some of our other guys down through the order in that championship, he's certainly outmarksmanshiped them, and we will be looking at certainly giving him a Div 1 upgrade for next season if he so wishes to come and play with the big boys. He's more than welcome, and he'll be able to work out the true cost of replacing wing mirrors, because these guys race for those. Darren Lobb still there, second spot, still putting the huss down in the MRP Mustang, but nothing compared to the glow that this guy here has on his race set of tyres. 7.2 seconds ahead in the lead there now. Darren, even though with a 7-second gap back from Rehan, he's got a 10-second gap margin over spot number 3 of Bruce Tannock, who doesn't really have too much in the way of people around him to challenge him for his podium spot. Daniel Heddershire there, sitting back in 4th, is just a touch over 4 seconds away behind him, so allowing Bruce the opportunity, falling off the track and half rotating the car would be about the only reason now, as we come down to how many laps left, Shano?
We are on lap 51, so at the end of this one, there'll be 5 laps to go. Just interesting as well, I noticed Stefan Adams picked up a drive-through penalty. Burned up a set of rears on the way through the pits, had it lit up all the way through, and then parked it on pit exit and towed back to pit lane again. He looks like he's just finished that tow and he's getting that service, so he's still in the service, so not quite sure what was going on there, but you see, didn't quite get the pit entry right as he came in for that drive-through, and then he stops, just lights it up and drives through the pit lane like this, and then on exit his rears were a bit warmer than he would have liked and couldn't get any traction.
Well, I suppose if you're going to serve a drive-through and as a bit of a protest to getting that drive-through, that's certainly one way of sending a message.
Yeah, sending out the smoke signals, so to speak.
Yeah. And that's one heck of a burnout. Cheers, Stefan.
And on a similar note, Toby Stent will need to be careful as well. He's sitting on 16s, so just one away from that drive-through, and Brody Scott and Taylor Mitchell currently sitting on 15, so they will need to be somewhat careful as well as they come into the closing stages.
There we go. Who was the other one after Brody Scott? So we've just got him on there now. Who was the last one?
Taylor Mitchell.
So yeah, so Taylor probably one with the potential to lose out if something were to happen, as Dad's playing with the server board there at home, turning his internet on and off would be another way to end the evening. A few laps to go. If Taylor keeps it clean, he'll hold on to spot number 5. If he runs wide, rotates the car, or bumps into another one, he could be looking at a tour of pit lane, and that could well and truly be enough to drop him down, probably still within the top 10, but certainly down to at least spot number 9, if not 10 itself. So there we go. Pretty full-on race all through the beginning. I'd say the first 15 laps were pretty challenging for a lot of the guys, and then they've all sort of fallen into a bit of a rhythm. But it's been this young fella's race from start through to the finish coming up shortly. Still just a touch over 7 seconds ahead of Darren Lobb, who has still got, actually he's managed to stretch it out to 15-second margin now. Bruce falling a little bit now to risk of Daniel Heddershide, so I wonder if Bruce is actually a wee bit shy on gas and doing some fuel saving, because that 4-second margin back to Daniel has closed down to 1.7 seconds, and Shane will let us know how many more laps Daniel has potentially got to be able to catch him.
Looking at 3 more laps now.
Wow. There we go. I quite like the recent comment, Corey, that Scott Pickering's put up on the live chat there.
Yeah.
Could be a good one moving forward with the championship. Would you like to give that a read out and get Shane's opinion on that one?
Yes, hang on, bear with me. Haven't even got it open tonight.
Oh. Would you like me to read it out?
Oh, no, I'm on my way, Here we go. Should points per race and each incident point you get is 1 championship point you lose. Drivers need bigger incentives to drive clean, in my opinion. So, should be 10 points per race.
Yeah, so
and each
dropping that down
incident
from
point you
17.
get is 1 championship point you lose. Drivers need bigger incentives to drive clean. Driving off track, so to speak, or purpose to gain time is effectively cheating in my book.
An interesting comment there from Scotty, Shane?
Yeah, I think as far as the deducting championship points, I think it's maybe not a bad idea. I feel like for me, 10 points is probably a little bit too low, just for the fact that if somebody clips you and it's not your fault and then they spin out, you pick up a 4x for that, you get a couple of those, you're at 8, and then a couple of off tracks gets you to 10, so that can very quickly bring up that drive-through penalty through not doing a lot wrong yourself, so it's a bit of a tricky thing there. Certainly, I think if iRacing were to come out with a better system where it actually determined who was at fault when applying those incident points, then it would definitely be worth looking at. But yeah, at this stage, I think 10's probably just a fraction too low for those reasons.
Yeah, yep. And I mean, I look at it and go, you know, somewhere around that 12 or 13 would probably be about the pinnacle of number of points with the current system that we have in place to be able to get away with, which would be, you know, really challenging on the drivers, and certainly as Lasis mentioned there, lastly after Scott, he has pointed out or bonuses for driving cleanly. We've actually done that as prize giveaways in the past, but as far as going to the extent of adding that as championship bonus points, could certainly be another way around that.
Yeah, 100%, as we're on the final lap now.
Yep, so Rehan making his last climb up the hill, coming down into the corkscrew for the final time. Keeping it nice and clean, not hitting that car too hard. Last few corners to go. We'll have a quick look at this. Just quickly back at corner number 6. This is on for the third spot between Bruce and Dan. We'll check in again on that one in a second. Rehan coming across the line. Big ups to you, young fella. There is certainly nothing wrong with your driving. Darren Lobb across the line into spot number 2. And looking at this coming down into the final corner. Bruce hanging it out wide, Daniel coming in tight. Nice run, drag race through to the finish. I think Bruce just running out of gas. He has, so there we go. Bruce just run out of gas around that final corner. That's allowed Daniel Heddershire to move up and take a third spot. Victory, we'll call it a victory because that is certainly what it is in my eyes. Well done. Taylor Mitchell coming across the line there in 5th behind Bruce. Roger Forbert 6th. Toby Stent in 7th. McNamara coming through finally there in 8th spot. That's nice to see. And Daniel Nolan taking out spot number 9. A few of the other guys had already been passed, so they've already gone out of there. Jason Cossey finishing 10th ahead of teammate Eamon Young. Brodie Scott taking spot 12. Ryan Cottrell finishing up a few spots there towards the end, finishing in 13th after sitting in 15th all the way through mostly. Tony Litch, the last of the Dirty Diesels cars, in 14th. Over Nick Mitchell in 15th. Peter Vanderberg rounding out spot 16, not sitting last after all, and Stefan still sitting in the pit lane 11 minutes later after cooking his rear tyres there in 17th. This is the man of the hour, doing his thing, getting all bagged up. Glow those tyres, my friend.
Yeah, well done, Rehan. Awesome performance tonight. He was absolutely untouchable. And you called it there with Bruce, Doug. You hypothesised earlier in the race that he may have been looking to save some fuel, and we saw him running out right at the end there, so he was obviously right on the limit, desperately trying to stretch it out to get to the end, and had been able to hold on to the position while doing so, but wasn't quite able to save enough as he just coughed across the line and had to concede that position there.
Yeah, crazy crazy finish there, and interestingly, it's, you know, this is similar to what we were talking about before, the race that took place between Rehan and Darren, and Darren just running out of juice towards the end, the gamble that these guys take, and Bruce unfortunately just shut himself a little bit shy, and he's fallen off that ever important podium step, allowing Daniel to get back on to where he qualified. And Rehan's sent his Commodore out in true Commodore fashion, getting smoke from both ends of the car.
Yeah, and I wonder if Bruce just looked at it knowing that there was a safety car coming later on in the race and looked at that fuel number and thought, I'm just going to take that down just a little bit, knowing that I'm going to be able to save some fuel under safety car, and just got that estimation a little bit wrong with how much he could afford to take out and just left himself a little bit short there.
Yeah, it's you know, and literally all for the sake of what could have been an extra half a second in the pit lane, and he was on the lower side with his pit stops. Low 23 for him, and Daniel had added an extra 4/10 of a second in his pit stop. So there you go. There's the price of difference between those two strategies. But wow, that was a really cool cool night. Yeah, big apologies again for our viewers at home and for anyone else tuning in later on for not having the standings board down the side that we usually do. There's been an issue with the live timing data being able to transpose that information across. We might try and look at some workarounds for that in the future so we don't come into similar issues, have a bit of a backup plan. Hopefully we did enough tonight with transposing that information across verbally to you guys. There was the OKMS 200 kilometres of Laguna Seca as part of the Allports Motorsports V8 series with the Supercars NZ. Corey, how did the guys finish up across the way in Div 2?
Quinn Wilson took it out.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, just going back to the data here. So Quinn Wilson winning by 26 seconds over Steve Darren in second. Jared Ecclestone, if that's right, I'll just call you Stonesy, as I have been. Scott McKenzie in fourth. Derek Lovegrove, followed by Nico Scholes. Nick Bakey in seventh. Trent Bennett eighth. Simon Nathan in ninth. Daniel Turner rounding out the top 10. So there, not too bad from them. I'm not sure when their safety car was or anything like that though.
Or if they had one.
Yeah, well that's right. Yeah, if they even had one. Yeah.
Well, there we go. So we'll be able to get the word
So it looks
from the
like
man.
all the points have come through here while I'm in the page, and so Quinn Wilson on 722 points, and Derek Lovegrove in second on 634. So yeah, it's about 70 odd point lead there for Quinn at the top at the moment.
Wow. Awesome. That's really cool to see. What else we got happening this week, Shano? We've got MRP LMP3s coming up tomorrow night, and also the MRP GT3s on Thursday.
Yeah, so the LMP3s are going to head to Kota tomorrow night. So Circuit of
Wow,
America,
cool.
track that
Yep.
Formula One's just been at on the
Yep.
weekend, and then we're actually all American this week as the GT3s head to Road America on Thursday. Then of course
Man,
Piston
awesome.
Cup Friday and Saturday.
Yep.
Find out on the night where they're going to be. And then next week the V8s are going to be staying in America as well as we head down to Florida for a race at Homestead, Miami. Not quite on the oval, on the little roval there with the infield section, which is a very interesting, tight little track.
Very tight.
Yeah, very,
Oh.
very much looking forward to how these cars go around there.
It'll be very
Oh, good.
interesting watch, I reckon.
Well, I'll be tuning into the live stream if I can, or at least be watching the replay of that a few days later, because I'll be at work doing the night shifty thing again. So you'll have the sultry tones of Wayne Bloor joining you guys up here in the broadcasting lounge for that one.
I'm disappointed, Doug. Where's your commitment?
Yeah.
Says the guy that missed 2 streams while he was over in Bathurst.
Oh, rub it in. You went to Bathurst. Oh.
Yeah, making money or sitting at home as a bum. No, certainly enjoyed my doing the activities of streaming and league running during my off time with the broken ribs. But I think sitting at home permanently trying to do this stuff would probably go a little bit stir crazy in the end. So pretty good work-life balance going on at the moment, and yes, unfortunately this time around work takes precedence. Earn the money so I can come back here and pay for more sim racing stuff, so we can get on here and bring you guys at home the goods to enjoy. So we hope we've done a good one by you. We do it for you. That was the races, Div 1, Supercars NZ. We will catch you all later on. Good evening.